It was the most exciting day of my life, full of fun. We had very few, very close friends at a farm that my husband has created. The drizzle turned into a downpour, and we moved inside a temporary shed. And I remember the lady walking with a plate of pakoras, hot pakoras, with an umbrella in her hand. Everything was very romantic. The evening did not end there. There was a party again in the night. We went there. My husband, who has been a recluse all his life, suddenly wanted to party. So we went there, and at 12 o'clock in the night we returned. Next day was an equally important day because a very close friend was turning 50. And we were very excited about it, especially my husband. At 3 o'clock, he got a message that his time is over. And at 3:10, he went away. Was he the controller of his life? Was he the chief executive officer of his life? He was not the controller. Because birth and death is something controlled by a superpower. Some people say God, some people say Allah, some people will say Christ, some will say He, I'll say she, because I don't think so there should be a gender bias there. But he was the chief executive officer of his life. He lived on his terms. He did what he wanted to do. And if he wanted to see the first sun rays sitting in his farm, he'll leave at 4 o'clock in the morning to enjoy that. I today look at myself a success rate than me. I proved to be an average CEO because while doing my work, which excited me most, covering the Ayodhya dispute, chasing dacoits, chasing politicians, I somewhere that Sunita Aaron got lost. I looked at people as my network, as my informers, as someone who gave me news, and they looked at me initially as the chief of bureau and then as the editor and the chair that I held. Where were my own passions? Where was Sunita Aaron throughout? If we look at our lives and we look at it as a company, everybody wants to be CEO today. Even the politicians, I remember when Kalyan Singh became chief minister, your vision, your mission is very clear. CEOs do fail, but somewhere they also deliver. Chandrababu Naidu called himself CEO for years. So when we talk about our lives, and when we say, we look at our life as a company, then as a CEO, what am I supposed to do? What are the departments that we have in our lives? There is a department work, which is very, very, very important for all of us. And I think I was very successful there. I did innovations, I did everything possible. I broke many milestones, and believe me, during my journey, I saw so many of them taking more milestones than what I had done. But I had an opportunity, I could recognize what others are doing in my own way. But where was I? Where was my life? If you look at a company, it has a vision, it has a mission, first thing. So, if life is a company, even if you get it in a red, you are sick, ailing, then also it has to have a vision, which is your dream, mission, which could be a purpose. When we talk about vision, it has to be more pragmatic. I can daydream to be the Prime Minister of the country, but my dreams have to be more realistic, which I can achieve, which are feasible, which are more practical, which does not give you a feeling of failure. After that, you have certain departments. You have a department called HR. HR, I think, is very important. In our own lives, it's the most important department, because I realized over the years that you need to fire people who are judgmental, who are negative, who are pulling you down, who are trying to control you. And you need to hire people in your life who love you as you are. They don't love your chair, they don't love your position, they love you as a person. Because they are the people who are going to value you, and they are the people who are going to stay with you. We realize it at a very later stage, but that's a fact of life. So hiring and firing, which goes in other companies, is as important in our lives. Second, the personal department. I think this is the department where I failed. I thought everybody understood me. I remember my daughter was celebrating her 4th birthday, and my editor called up and said, "Sunita, I'm sorry, but I need this news, it's very important." And I told him, "Okay, we're going to cut cake, and after that I'll lock myself and I'll write my report," which I did. But did I notice the smile disappearing from my daughter's face? My father, I took very good care of him, but he wanted some time, my time, I did not have. So I think in this particular department, many of us who are workaholics, or who have this just to do more and more and more and more and achieve and climb the ladder, step by step, ignore that. And this is one department which I think any company needs to nurture their people, their relationships, and it becomes the most important asset of a company. Third, health and wealth. Now, health is, I realized it, I've been sick. I have a whole lot of doctors, I know them. I'm not short of money. But few friends, they were there, and myself, I was not in a position to take care of myself. So your wealth is important to some extent, but it is your health which is the most important thing. Like Sadhguru says, life is important. But what is more precious is you're living today, you're breathing today. You need to appreciate that today. We get dragged down, we get pulled down by so many pressures in our lives. We forget that we are breathing. And we need, if we want to do well in our career, if we want our children to do very well in our career, then we need to live. People say that you get life once. I think you get life once, but you live every day. You die only once. That's the realization that I think all of us have to have. We try to control each other's lives. Why? It's my life. Let me be what I want to be. As parents, we try to control lives of our children. Let them blossom. I remember there is a small clip right now on social media, it has gone very viral, where a teacher walks into the room and says, "I've got a special assignment for all of you." And she distributes sheets of papers and she tells them, "Write what you want to be when you grow up." Children think about it. I'm very sure they also thought about what their parents had been telling them. And all of them, they wrote something or the other. One boy wrote, "I want to be happy." And then the teacher said, "Perhaps you did not understand the question." He said, "Ma'am, you did not understand life." Today there are countries which are vying to get that happiness index, win that happiness index. How many times do we ask people, Are you happy? When did we ask a child last, are you happy? What will make you happy? Have you ever tried to do that? Perhaps not. We always say, oh, if you do well in your exams, you become an engineer or you become a doctor, I'll be happy. You don't say, child, you'll be happy if you become whatever you want to become. Happiness becomes the biggest casualty. And I think as CEO of a company, the areas that one needs to focus on, which I've learned very late in the day, is the personal relationships. It's very important. Non-interference from people who don't matter to me. It's my life. There are unlimited choices. I may be very unconventional in my approach. I was attending transgenders a session on them, and I told them that I love writing books and I would like to write a book on success. Whole lot of you, why do you have to wear earrings and everything to, maybe you're trying to prove your identity, but why don't you wear your success on your sleeves? Every office has a decorum, the way they dress up. So I would like to write about their success stories. There is so much one can learn from how they come out of the problems that they face, the non-acceptance by society, and then they do well when society accepts them and parents also accepts them. But somehow we try to be very judgmental. We don't want such people in our lives. It's my life. I have unlimited choices. I agree that I cannot make someone's life miserable by my own actions. But like any CEO of the company, you deliberate, you discuss. There are ways to find out what exactly you wish to be. And you don't do as we saw a film right now. You don't kill people. You don't kill emotions. I think killing emotions is worse than killing a person. You don't, if you're depressed, you don't commit suicide. You don't short circuit your life in any way. Believe me, when you will arrive and when you will go from here will be decided by someone else. It's only your journey between birth, life and death that you can navigate. Life is no bed of roses. It's a roller coaster ride. There are so many highs and lows. There are so many turbulences. You have to navigate your way through them. And there is no way somebody else will show you the way. If you are in a ship, in a turbulent river, you have to be the commander of your life, no one else. I think before I conclude, I today realize that I have been an average CEO. But it's never late in the day. I want to be a very efficient CEO. And I'm going to focus on the areas that I have neglected along with the work that I do. Because work is something which is very, very exciting, which pushes adrenaline in my blood, which keeps me going. But believe me, two things that I'm going to focus, as I think others should also, is the purpose in your life and happiness. And the purpose in your life should could be bringing smile on face of one person a day. I think your life is purpose. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think there is no point of me being here because she has already spoken everything about me. So I'm just wondering, what am I going to do? I woke up in the morning at 4 and been preparing for this talk. But anyways, I want to share a story with you about a little boy from a small town called Belgaum, which is down south. He is in his 10th standard shy, introvert. The only thing he is good is cricket. And when he plays cricket, he is a dangerous combination. When he is batting as a one-down batsman, he is seeing himself as Rahul Dravid. When he is bowling, he loves to compare himself as Kapil Dev. And when he is fielding, he is all bruised all over, like Jaunty Rhodes. There is another thing about this guy who loves to run behind kites. I'm sure most of you might have done it. So one day while chasing a guy, he ends up in front of a theater. And to his surprise, when the kite falls in front of him, he looks around and he sees no one to snatch it away from him. He goes, picks the kite up, and then his eyes fall on the poster of a movie called Main Khiladi Tu Anadi. He looks at the poster for a while and asks himself a question. How do these people make music? Isn't there a limitation? Isn't there a quota of music? How can they make such a beautiful music? I believe that this is the last movie with good music, good songs. Little did the little boy know that few years down the line, he was about to start writing songs in the movies. Life is a magical design. Every moment shows us the sign. Some days are heaven, some are hell. But when we look back, we know everything did rhyme. Life is a magical design. So that kid was me. I had no idea, very shy, introvert. I have the courage to stand in front of you now and talk about this journey is because there was loads of transformation, loads of magical design, loads of universal powers that supported me. Few years after my schooling, in college I used to write 4 lines. I don't know how many of you do that, to all the pretty women in the college. And then eventually write for my friends who like women. And then I used to write about everything around me. This writing made somebody fall in love with me and made me rise in poetry. That love story didn't last for a long time. It was just short-lived for 6 months. But that girl gave me a passion for a lifetime. When your first love says, you should be a lyricist, you don't look around. You just go ahead and do it, even if it's a pitfall, whatever it is, you just do it. That's what I did. So I started lyric writing. I went to Mumbai in 2002, struggled for 2 years, and there was nothing which I could achieve in 2 years' time. But the magical design had some other plans in its mind, something designed for me, which was unfortunate for me that my dad was hospitalized in Pune. I had to come back, and unfortunately, in 15 days' time, he was no more. I was completely shattered, gave up writing, went into depression, and managed his business, which was securities and detectives. I was way too rebellious with him, and I never liked that business. Unfortunate for me that, and 1.5 years I did nothing but stayed at my room, thinking, why didn't I spend time with my father? Because that's the time when I realized what life is. Because the people around you don't stay forever. All that you have is today. And that made me go mad for 1.5 years. I stopped writing completely. But the magical design, again, as I said, had a plan. A friend of mine from Mumbai called me up and asked me, where are you? You're not to be seen. I said, I'm in Pune. He said, why don't you do one thing, You are such a brilliant writer and you're a good composer as well. You have a good sense of music. Why don't you learn piano? Because that's the thing which can help you compose songs. And he pushed me and I took up a piano class in Pune. And the big coincidence there was the lady who owned the institute, her brother was a producer in Mumbai. His name was Lucky Sharma. And she fixed up a meeting with him. I went there, a little young boy standing in front of all the people in front of a conference room and reciting my poetry. Luckily, my songs were selected and 2 songs immediately got recorded. One sung by Sunidhi Chauhan and the other one was Shreya Ghoshal. I got 10,000 rupees in an envelope for one song each, 1,000 crisp currencies. And I was so happy because I never thought that's a huge amount in 2005-6. That film never happened. But then I realized the design wants me to be here in Bollywood. That's where I belonged. And I remember one thing of what my father used to say: if you want to be something in your life, you should never keep options. Cut all the options and run behind one thing with loads of madness and full magic. And that's what I started doing since 2006. I went to Pune, I started handling my father's business. I took up a job instead of sitting at home and getting depressed. I took up a job in Honeywell Automation India Limited as a credit analyst, and I was managing the American aerospace. So there was lots of transformation from being a shy, introvert kid to a person who was handling American aerospace. 1.5 years time I worked there. Every Friday night I used to leave early. The shift was 7 p.m. to 4 a.m. in the morning. And I used to leave the office, I used to leave the office at 12 in the night, take a bus in the morning at 6 every Saturday morning, go to Mumbai, stay there for the weekend, and come back on Monday and join the job. So that happened for 1.5 years until I got my first song, which released in 2009. That was Paisa Hai Pao from Aa Dekhe Zara, which missed out on my credit. They wrote Prashant on the CD and they put Prashant Pandey in the film. So I missed out on that credit. I was like, me and my sister, we were watching it in Pune and we were very disheartened about the incident. But I said, forget about it, let's move on. I wrote another song for a movie called All the Best. And that song was called Rockstar, but that song didn't make me a rock star. Again, the same thing happened. The credit wasn't there for me in the film. The song was there in the film, but it wasn't there in the CD. So lots of things happened with me over a period of time. I wrote around 500 songs in 10 years' time until 2012. And one day I was called to Mumbai by Pritam to write a song called Allah Duhai Hai from Race 2. I went there at 12 and I wrote 2 options till 3 p.m. in the afternoon. And while I was leaving, it was 3:10. I still remember that moment. It was 3:10 and I was leaving. When Pritam told me, can you write one more song for me? And I looked at the watch, it was 3:10. I said, you know what, I've got another meeting. There wasn't a meeting, but I had to catch my train to Pune because my train was at 4:30. And it took me 1 hour from where I was to reach the station. And I had nothing to eat for lunch. So I lied to him, but he insisted that I should write something. So I had a buffer of 20 minutes in my hand. I took the tune, I sat into the studio and I wrote something and I ran away from there. I took the train, came to Pune, put my phone on silent and slept. In the morning when I woke up, I had around 15 missed calls, 7 to 8 messages from Pritam's office. And I thought maybe this would be the 501st song, to be rejected, and they want me to write more options. And to my surprise, that wasn't the case. The design had already worked. I was designed to be there. My song, Party on My Mind, which I wrote in 14 minutes, was selected for Race 2. And that song today is more than 200 million hits. So that is what the design is, I feel, when I look back. Immediately after Race 2, Party on My Mind, I got Mary Com. And Mary Com gave me not only the whole album, but a title. All the critics started calling me New Age Gulzar, which was very special, surreal for me. At the same time, comparison with such a great lyricist of India, the living legend, was like I was feeling I don't deserve that. But because Medicom didn't only give me that, Medicom gave me one more film with Bansali sir. And Bansali sir called me, and I still remember that moment when he called me. There was a huge sitting happening, and sir was sitting here on a chair. I just walked in, and there were people sitting here, the assistant directors, musicians who were playing the song, and the song was happening, the jamming, the music sitting was happening. And sir just gestured me to come and sit next to him. He asked his assistant to put a chair next to him. I went and sat next to him, and after the song was done, sir whispered in my ears, saying, "Would you write a song for my Bajirao Mastani like you did in Medicom?" And I literally had tears in my eyes while I was sitting next to him, because it took me 7 to 8 years to meet him until Medicom. 2 days later, I wrote the song and I presented to him. And that song was taken as I had written it. There was not a single word changed. And that made another history. That is Malhari from Bajirao Mastani. And that is like 3.5 years down the line as well, a cult song. That song gave me another song called Fituri from Bajirao Mastani, and another called Gajanana. Gajanana went into the Guinness Book of World Records, which I wrote in 3 hours, and for the biggest launch of the song in the world history. So when I see back, when I look back, there has been loads of designs, loads of things which have happened with me. When I was in college, I wanted to become a chef. So a friend of mine, when he joined hotel management, I love cooking, so I joined hotel management with him parallel to my commerce. I didn't do that, but that taught me how to cook, to be self-reliant. Wherever I go, I love eating good food and feeding people with good food. Then I delivered mangoes. I worked on a octroy bill collection. I have worked in the Indian Express circulation department, getting people to enroll for the subscription for 6 months and all. So lots of things have gone by, and I have seen lots of magic. The design has played with me, and that's why I say, when you look back, you understand. In this moment, you go through pain, you go through loads of things which we don't realize. But the next day, when you look back, that's when we realize and understand what that design is expecting from you. I have seen magic all my life. When I was struggling, whenever I needed to pay the rent, somewhere or the other, I used to get 10,000 rupees in my account. 10,000 for me, it was a big amount, because coming from a low middle class family, that amount for struggle in Mumbai is a big amount. So this journey till Bajirao Mastani has taken around 17 years of my life. But the only thing that I remember is, if you want to do something in life, firstly explore yourself before exploring the world. Don't do 10 things at a time. And when you know what you're best at, make sure you follow only that, with full of madness and magic, as I said. And then there is no looking back. There is loads of patience, dedication, and perseverance required, which I feel that's when you create your name. Many friends of mine were making money, getting married, and they used to ask me like, "You're not making any money, you're not getting married." I said, "You're making money, I'm making history. I'm creating legacy for myself." And that's what happened. And now I just ended up directing a short film called Bodh, which means awakening in Sanskrit. And it's a 18 minutes short film on women empowerment. And that too happened with some weird things with me. I've got the whole Bajirao Mastani team on board to support me. And I have seen loads of magic, and I have learned this direction while I was sitting with my roommates who are filmmakers. And I have learned that when I was sitting with them and watching films, I have no idea about filmmaking. But eventually that's what it is. Like when you put your heart and soul, you eventually end up on a different level altogether. You are the name in the making. That's what I feel, and that's why I'm here in front of you. And that's my story about introvert, a guy who was shy, and now the writer of Bajra Mustani and the director of Work. Thank you.
In fact, the entire universe is constantly growing. But where is this growth taking us? Nobody knows. But what we do know is that the sole nature of our nature is growth. Growth is life. And however our lifetimes are a summation of varied emotions, joy represents the life in our lives. I strive to bring this life into millions of lives through my work, creating inner joy, a body of joy. I do not wish to be boring and speak endlessly about my life and experiences. It has been an ordinary existence of a girl next door who suddenly got a Prince Charming and a dream of a beautiful and fulfilled life with a loving family, children, and a life of influence. But what I do want to share with you all is that life is just not merely about possessing the right person, the dream home, the wealth of the world, and all the status symbols of the society. I did not have any complaints, but despite the shimmer and comfort of this life, it lacked true joy, a life full of life. No untoward incident happened, thanks to God Almighty. No tragedy struck, but still there was a void which stuck like a constant lump without any reason. I was stuck. And over time, how I made sense of it was that the mere absence of sorrow does not mean that we all have a joyous life. I decided to turn around my life and now millions of lives across the world by creating inner joy through wellness of the body, transversing through the mind, and shining through the soul. How to do that? I request all of you to just pause for a moment and answer. Are you all happy? Or are you all comfortable? I am sure you have the answer by now. Let us build up on that. Our God is yet accustomed to a lifestyle we give it. Over time, this lifestyle either breaks or makes your body and mind with it. So how to build joy? The first thing is breaking boredom of the self. That is, breaking away from the sedentary lifestyle that you're so used to and building up activity. Just imagine how a 15 minutes of walk every day in the morning can change the way you feel. It makes you refreshed and rejuvenated. Hence, an active body is the first step to joy. Do you all know that our bodies are constantly renewing themselves? The old cells die and the new cells take their place in the body. But have you ever thought? The burdens, the pains, and the emotions of the past remain the same, and we refuse to budge from the constant agony they put us into. So why should we not take inspiration from our bodies and try and renew our thought system as well? Build up new thought procedures every day. Shed every joy and sorrow every night before you go off to sleep, and then pick them back up again the next morning, but consciously. When we choose to pick our joys every day, we will always be in its abundance. And then, when we transfer this joy
to each and every cell of our body, we will create a web of joy. Imagine a damaged cell, how it heals itself. Of course, with the help of other cells around it, adjacent to it. Similarly, creation of this web of joy, what I term as self-compassion. Nature is the best medicine. We have all heard this since times ancient. But the question now is how to unlock the wonder of this nature to heal our lives. The 5 elements of nature to treat the 5 elements of the body. According to ancient Indian sciences, our bodies are made up of 5 elements, namely fire, water, earth, air, and ether. Any imbalance in these elements creates an imbalance in our bodies, which can rise to a lot of ailments, as light as a headache, and maybe as complex as cancer. Through centuries, we have learned to create balance and healing through nature. Our initiative is a unique combination of Ayurveda, naturopathy, and mindfulness, and a number of ancient as well as modern practices. Through the work, we have understood that joy as a vital emotion has the power to reach each and every cell of our body. And researchers have time and again proved that belief is also a powerful emotion that can cure even the trickiest of ailments. Now just understand, if it can heal what is ailing, what wonders would belief and joy do to a fairly healthy mind and body? Make it superhuman? Who knows? This is how we create the universe within, a breathing, dynamic, seemingly endless ocean of joyous possibilities with an expanse so huge that it takes a forever to demystify magic. I have created this universe within me, and I believe that all of you have the power to break away from the shackles of your mind and discover this one beautiful life we have every passing day. Such is the energy of this universe that it replicates, shines, glows, and transforms infinitely from many to me, from me to you, and from you back to me. A breathing, loving, sharing universe of joy, a body of joy. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. And what is that? What does this remind you? Yes. And that is, you are the hero you seek. You're still with Tarzan, right? Well, I'm not Tarzan, I'm much more handsome and with the 8-pack abs. Audible, right? Every day in our lives, we are always seeking heroes. In form of, great leaders, ideal parents and partners, shiny religions, great gods. Somehow we have kept the responsibility of being the heroes outside ourselves. When we talk about being heroic, we are always deeming someone else's heroism as ours. Looking at them, कि एक दिन वो आएगा और मुझे बचाएगा. Someday my hero will come. Without failing to understand that we always have the choice to become a hero. And beyond the choice, we are hero ourselves. Imagine a scenario in which in the year 1893, an advocate was kicked out of a train in South Africa. Okay? An advocate was kicked out of a train in South Africa because he was an Indian. Was he the only Indian to be kicked out of a train? Of course no. Many had met the same fate. Now that man could have said, okay, it happens with everyone. Also happened with me. So what is the issue? I'll just go on with my life. I'm already a barrister. I can earn in dollars and pounds and whatever foreign currencies and then have a good life of my own. Yeah? Imagine another scenario in which a man was denied his basic rights of being alive just because he was not white. He graduated from the Boston College, from the Harvards and the Stanfords of the world. He was not the only colored person to be denied rights. There were lakhs and millions who were denied rights. But was he the only one? No. He could have said, I'm the most educated, and out of my community I can very well find my own place in the world and have a beautiful life ahead, safe and sound, somewhere else, probably not in that particular country, which calls itself a superpower. Another scenario in which a boy, an 8-10-year-old boy, is hawking for newspapers on a fishing boat. He fishes with his uncles and fathers. Goes to a humble school in South India. Yeah. He also studies along with it. He could have thought, I can follow the same footsteps. I'm having a full stomach. I'm having a good life. I'll stay at that. Imagine these scenarios and the choices these people made. And the choices that these people made, had they not done it, India's most developing country would not have been free. The first scenario. Apartheid and racism would have still been present in this world. And a nation of innovators, scientists would not have ever dreamt to be on the moon. I spoke about Gandhi, Luther and Kalam. Why do I not call them Gandhi ji, Sir Luther or Mr. Kalam or Dr. Kalam? Because these are names that we give to our heroes, without realizing that they are no different from us. They were born with the same or probably lesser privileged backgrounds. And when we see that, we are always looking at heroism from the past. If I ask all of you to write one quote from the past, I won't talk about which person you would define, but I can guarantee that you would go at least 50, 60, 100 years back to write that quote. Am I wrong? You will write about Vivekanand, you will write about Albert Einstein, you will write about, recently Steve Jobs. But why are they a handful of people here? Why don't we choose to become the Einsteins of today? Today I am in the presence of these hundreds and through the video, millions of students and youth across the world. If they keep looking back for inspiration, they would be shining in their light and not from their own. They can choose to be the moons, but not the sun, which is burning each day to make the whole world light up and be alive. Don't we choose to be the moons every day? Don't we? Just think to yourself. What is making you shine right now? You know, it can be a status, an Instagram post, a Facebook photograph, the way you speak, your language. Language is a status symbol these days. The way you dress. And one thing when you realize about all these three scenarios that what I spoke about, what is common among them? The most common thing among them is pain. Now when I talk about pain, that does not mean that you have to wait for an atrocity or a injustice to happen to your life to become a hero. Pain is not that. You cannot say, I did not become a hero just because I did not have pain. Pain is not something that is afflicted upon you. Pain is something that you embrace. Pain is not always negative. Pain is also the choice you make to make a change happen. You can have the pain of not being good enough to create a better world around there. And all these three people chose their pain. I choose to fight for the Indians' freedom struggle. I choose to fight for the rights of black people. I choose to become a scientist and make sure that my country stands at the zenith of the technological advancements of the world. They chose their pain. With great power comes great responsibility. Who said this? With great power comes great responsibility. Who said this? Okay, so there are no Spider-Man fans here. So this is by Uncle Ben from Spider-Man, my favorite cartoon character. I stress on the cartoon character, not a superhero. I'm the superhero. See my photograph there? Yeah. With great power comes great responsibility. Very, very deep notion and thought. But have you thought the other way around? With great responsibility comes great power. Think. With great responsibility comes great power. When we choose the pain, when we choose the pain in our lives, I'm not talking about the pain, the negative part, but the challenges. It is a very further thing to do. Think to yourselves, does it pain you when you see the world around? How it is? Good or bad? Why is it the way it is? It is because of us. It is not because of the world around, it is because of us. You are responsible, I am responsible. We are responsible. If it pains to see an unequal world, the world is not unequal, we are. If it pains to see a child being murdered because of religious intolerance, the religion is not a killer, we are. If it pains and if you rant about corruption, the world is not corrupt, we are. And if it pains to see a woman being mauled by men just because they think that she deserves it, she is not being raped, we are. The pain of the world is not of the world itself, it is ours. Blame yourself for that. I started that at a very early age. I'm a dyslexic and a synesthetic. I have a weaker brain because of the standards. could not understand education much, but understood something very, very different. At the age of 22, I started my first venture into rehabilitating tribes which were going into extremism through social business. Now, in one of those projects, when the Nirbhaya case happened, I did not put black dot photos on my Facebook. Neither did I go on candle marches. Because I blamed myself for that heinous crime. I was crying and I was feeling like that lady. And that helped me become the answer. I invented the Shakti whistle, which is world's most affordable self-defense device at 14 rupees. It's a GPS device and a whistle along with a pepper spray. It's 14 rupees. So I devised this innovation that helped answer that evil. Now you might say, how illogical is that you blame yourself for whatever is happening in the world? You might say, well, it's very illogical. Well, I pay my taxes, I donate, I help people and I respect women. But let me tell you one thing, that your answers derive from the depth of questions you have. I'll repeat. Your answers derive from the depth of the questions you have. So the amount of the magnanimity of the question that you pose to yourself determines your answer and your place in the world. Every day, whenever I look at social evils, I start feeling like that. Had I been, put in the same situation, I was abducted thrice in central India. I went into that pain. When I was in those areas and working with them, I started looking at social evils as my own pain and then started answering them through social businesses. These businesses not only help them financially, it also helped them behavioral in their behavioral aspects and livelihood aspects. And slowly and steadily, this light of hope is changing their lives and my life too, together. And when we talk about hope, that is the only power we all have to make a change happen. Children, especially. You all have that choice to be remarkable. Yeah? Don't ever think that you are not capable of doing something just because you failed in some exam or you could not go through some competition. You have only one single life. And it is very, very, very precious. And you're already a wonder, so always believe in that. When I think about hope, I cry every day for half an hour. It's not because of the sorrow or some kind of pain or sadness. It is just an outburst of the hope that I build within me to give it to everyone around the world. I believe that we all are connected to the web of hope, just as Trisha said, web of joy. We all are connected with that web of hope in which we all are always contributing. Whenever you have hatred here, you transfer that. Whenever you have hope here, you transfer that. And every day when I cry, I give that light up to them. Everyone sitting here right now, feel the magic of this particular moment. You can hear this. I'm waking you up right now. Feel the magic of this moment. We are all strangers to each other. Yeah. People who are looking at the screens right now through the video. Maybe we'll be strangers, but we are all connected through that powerful human thread of hope together. Feel the magic of the moment right now, and let's send hope to everyone around the world. Some lone warrior who is fighting some battle. Yeah? And we'll do that together. Would you help me in humming with me? Yes? Yes? Sing with me. One more time, and feel your life depends upon it. Always remember,